I got a lesson, before the show came on, of how to pronounce Maarten Dalmijn. Am I getting there?
Yeah, it's good enough.
But you see, I grew up in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is a government town, and we had this expression, close enough for government work. So
Close enough for government work.
I'll let
Well,
you think
yeah,
about the implications of that, but it's great to have you on board. So let me end the screen share.
happy to
Um,
be here.
so welcome. Yes, very happy to have you here. So maybe, could you start out with just a little bit of background, who you are, what do you do?
Yeah. So, hi, I'm Maarten. I'm currently head of product at a startup. So I'm still very much in the trenches, doing things. I'm also very active in the community, writing on Medium, podcasts, yeah, giving talks. And currently, most of my time is actually spent writing a book, and that takes a lot of time. So that's what I'm doing at night when my kids are sleeping. That's basically my life at the moment.
Oh, I was going to say this also explains why you can be so active on LinkedIn. You just kind of take a paragraph out of the book and copy paste and see what happens.
Well, actually, I wish I could do that, but I'm doing it on my train rides. So that's when I write.
Ah,
I have half an
okay.
hour and I just give myself half an hour to write
Oh,
something, and that's
cool,
it.
cool. Okay, so what are you working on these days?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm busy.
Got your book?
Yeah, lot many things, mostly book. I'm basically saying no to many things. So this is one of the few things I'm doing at the moment, actually, apart from writing a book.
Okay, we're very honored that you decided to come.
Yeah, no, it seemed really cool because yeah, what really interests me is to give like a talk on product ownership. I don't think there are a lot of product owner oriented, yeah, festivals or meetups. Uh, so I thought it would be really cool to speak.
Okay, great. So what are you working on that you're excited about? Obviously you got a book, so obviously you're excited. I mean, that's almost like having a baby. I mean, everyone's excited about their baby, but
Yeah. So what I'm excited about. So basically, I'm very much into Agile and Scrum, but I'm also very much into product management. So I'm kind of living in both worlds. And yeah, I'm writing a book kind of to bridge both of those worlds. And that's
mhm.
what kind of excites me because, yeah, I believe that there's, how do you say, a lot of confusion about the difference between product managers, product owners. And yeah, I think there's just a lot of benefits by bringing those worlds together a bit more. And that's my intention with writing the book, basically.
Okay. So you talk about product ownership and product management. So, maybe the same question I gave to Karsten. What does product ownership mean for you? And kind of where does product ownership start and product management start?
Yeah. So basically, the way I see it is, so one of the big challenges in software development always is that there are way more requests and way more things you can do, right? Potentially,
Mhm.
than you have capacity. And I think, in essence, this tension, like that, you have limited capacity to do things that you really need to get the most out of it, the most value out of it. That's where the product owner plays a big role. And what interests me most, uh, what's most interesting for me in the role is that you need to bring all these different facets of value delivery together and make sure that you, yeah, reach a global optimum and not that you reach like a local optimum based on what you know. And that's what makes it also very challenging because you need to, yeah, understand all these different worlds of marketing, sales, software development. And yeah, it's a very intriguing role.
Okay, so maybe I missed something, but I'm still trying to understand kind of the difference between product ownership and product marketing. I mean,
uh,
the
Product management you meant, right? I mean,
Right, product
or
management.
yeah,
Yes. So
sorry.
where does product management, what does a product manager do that a product owner doesn't, or vice versa?
So I don't think there's a big difference, to be honest. So if you look at it, I mean, I'm just going to give the vanilla Scrum answer in the sense that you have one product, there is one product owner. So
Mhm.
that is a pretty demanding role.
Hmm.
uh, and that means that this person needs to have a deep understanding of product management. And it's kind of like, if you're a software developer, right, you need to know how to program often.
Mhm.
Yeah, Scrum Guide doesn't tell you how to do that, and I believe it's the same with product ownership. Like, I think every product owner should read different kinds of books on discovery and all other aspects of product management to really understand, yeah, the trade.
Okay. So product ownership has this the one person who makes decisions about the product, whereas product management might be a much broader task, which needs much more support from a larger community in order, or not, to make it happen effectively.
Yeah.
right?
So I honestly think that one product owner per product, right? That means you always need to support from other people, because if you always need to make every single decision, then it's not scalable. So I think it's all about conveying that vision, strategy, so that everybody knows where we're heading, so that if something happens, they don't immediately need to ask you for every little detail. Doesn't scale, and it's also not empowering.
Okay. Now you mentioned the Scrum Guide. You kind of kicked up a bit of dust recently when you launched a website where the community could make suggestions to the authors of the Scrum Guide. Could you tell us a little bit about that, and
Yeah.
what was the motivation for it, and what's happening with it now?
Yeah. So the motivation was that when the new Scrum Guide was released, before it was released, actually, there used to be a feedback forum, and it was actually turned off because they were working on the Scrum Guides. So I actually already was posting about it, like, why are we turning off feedback when we're developing a new version? It doesn't make sense. It's still open for feedback. So I started already writing about that. And then after the new version was released, they forgot to turn it back on for, I think, more than a year or 1.5 years. And then I actually posted, and then 24 hours later, it was removed. So I kind of felt like, hey, they removed something which I thought was
Hmm.
valuable, and they weren't going to bring it back because they didn't feel it was valuable. So I was kind of like rebellious and decided, hey, I'm going to bring it back. But I want to stress that it's now part of the serious Scrum community. I'm still involved, but it's not attached to any
Hmm.
single person.
Okay, so it's not an official thing of the serious Scrum community. It's just kind of something that's out there.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, it is. No, it is from the serious Scrum community, and we've also been in close touch with Scrum.org, and they like the initiative, so they're happy with
You
it.
okay? Because that was kind of the interesting question, is because some people didn't sound like they appreciated it very much.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, some people weren't happy, but some of them also reached out to me to apologize. Like, hey,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So
Oh, that's
I
good.
think
That's encouraging. That's
yeah,
encouraging. Yes. Okay. So you're telling me that inspect and adapt still applies to the Scrum Guide. Is that what we're hearing?
too early to judge, right? I mean,
Okay.
we have to see. Like, I really honestly feel like, uh, so this is just a small step. This is about the feedback, but I honestly feel that there should be a roadmap. Like, hey, these are the issues we're seeing in the Scrum community. Like, people constantly misunderstand certain things, and that they run experiments to see, hey, how could we address it? But I'm not in charge of the Scrum Guide, but I would do it
Okay.
differently.
Okay. Okay. I could ask you a whole bunch of questions, but it's kind of taking us off topic. But
Yeah, sorry.
maybe we can have that one. No, I mean, it's a fascinating topic, and I think responsiveness to a community is a very interesting question for the product owner. And I think, it's just as a question for product ownership. You turn off your feedback site, or you take feedback and then you kind of say, no, 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 not going to do that, not going to do that, not going to do that. That's kind of an interesting case study in customer and user relationship management. So how do because the other question is, how do people feel about the responses to the feedback that from the previous site, and will the site be any different? So, but I'd say that's a topic. Maybe we'll have a roundtable at a future festival or something like that, 'cause that would be a good topic. So let's come back to your talk. 10 things you wish you had known when you started out.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are people going to discover from your talk?
Yeah. So what I find interesting is, if I look how I started out as a product owner and versus how I'm currently doing it, it's the big world of difference. The way I spend my time is totally different. And yeah, I really honestly feel that conveying that message, like, for example, let me give you an example. So when I started out, I was really closely involved with the team, writing perfect user stories, spending a lot of time in refinement. And actually, what I found is, the more experience I've gained, actually, I'm spending less time with the team, and I'm spending more time with the customer, more time with the business. And that's because I found like effective ways of creating this common understanding, which takes less of my time, and also effective ways of empowering the teams. So it's pretty similar actually to what a Scrum Master does, in the sense that, like, being a servant leader, instead of saying, hey, I'm going to tell you what to do, how do I empower them to make the right decisions? And it's a very different way of working. And I think,
Hmm.
yeah, uh, showing a little bit how to do that will help. I think product owners have more time to do what really matters.
Oh, I like that. I like that phrase. I've heard that somewhere before. Okay. So who do you think is going to benefit from your talk?
Yeah, I hope the junior
We're
product
good.
owners or experienced product owners who basically see, hey, you can also do things differently, and then they can try it out and see whether it works for them. Because what I honestly believe, there's not one best way, of course, but I do believe that by understanding how other people work, maybe there's some stuff you can pick up. And yeah, if you're spending too much time in your team, then this talk
Hmm.
will definitely be for you, because I've got some tips and tricks how you can spend less time with your team so you have more time to talk to the customer and the business and do other things.
If you're spending too much time with your team, come to Martin's talk. I hear that. Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, so who's going to benefit from this? Who's really got to come to your talk?
Yeah, I think mostly people. So aside from the time, right? I think one of the biggest challenges product owners face is everybody talks about value and everybody has an opinion on what's valuable. And I think it's really important to create a model for how your product is delivering value. So even if you've got the time thing nailed down, if you don't have a good model for, hey, this is how our product delivers value to our customers in the business, then it's very difficult to move away from this kind of feature factory way of thinking where it's kind of like,
Hmm.
you deliver this feature, life is great, versus, hey, we build something and we inspect and adapt. We see how it's performing. But you can only do that if you have a model for, and that you also evolve over time based on what you discover and learn. So yeah, that part I think is super crucial and not easy to do. And I'm going to try to make it tangible.
Okay, awesome. So being better at creating value, understanding what the value of your product is, and
Yes.
then having more time for your customers, how to have more time for your customers and spend less time with your team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it may sound
Okay.
a bit negative, right? But if you look at if you look at Scrum, it doesn't tell you how to set a valuable product goal. It doesn't tell you how to set a valuable sprint goal. It doesn't tell you how to create a product vision or a product strategy. So yeah, that's where you should spend a lot of your time. Because if
Okay.
you don't have that, then yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, I must admit, I'm really looking forward to your talk. And your talk, if I remember correctly, so we've got two sessions next week. That is the 24th and the 25th, and then two sessions the week after that, the 31st of May and the 1st of June. And yours is on the 1st of June, if I remember correctly. So you're going to be our closing keynote within the main program. And I'm really excited about that. And I've got some good messages. So this will be cool.